So lately there's been a lot of talk about the Switch 2, and there's been a ton of discussion about the specs and all the hardware leaks, and in the end it doesn't really matter what the specs are, because we're all going to buy it whether it's on par with a PS4, or if it's on par with a PS5, or it's on par with an Xbox, or whatever. What I'm more interested in is what the next Super Smash Bros. Game is going to be like. I know what you're going to say. Sakurai said that he was done making Smash Bros. Games, and that Nintendo's not going to be able to top Smash Ultimate because of all the strings they had to pull to get the third-party characters and blah 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 blah. I don't care. Smash Ultimate is the highest selling fighting game of all time. And all of the other previous Super Smash Bros. Games are all in the top 10 of the top selling fighting games of all time. So like it or not, they're gonna make a new one, whether Sakurai is involved or not. And with the Switch 2 finally being announced, I now want to talk about everything that I personally think should be in the next Super Smash Bros. Game. Okay, the first thing I want is every character from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate to be in this game, plus an additional 30 new characters minimum. I know what you're thinking.
They can't get that many characters in the game because it would cost too much money to bring all those third-party IPs, and the new Smash needs to be a reset of the series, and they have to have a smaller roster and blah 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 blah.
No. I do not care about licensing. Nintendo was able to pull it off once, so they should be able to do it again. This game is a sequel, so as a sequel should be, it needs to build off the previous one and have more content than its predecessor. I hate this new trend when fighting game sequels put in significantly less content than their predecessors, like Tekken 7 and Tekken 8 and Dead or Alive 6. For Tekken 6 and Tekken Tag Tournament 2 had way more content than Tekken 7 and Tekken 8. Had more characters, had more modes, and was overall a more fun game. I don't care about the technical aspects of it. I'm not a professional Tekken player, so I don't care about that. And the majority of people aren't professional Tekken players. And as for Dead or Alive 6, everybody who played Dead or Alive 6 liked Dead or Alive 5 way better. It had more characters, and they had better characters. They had more stages, they had more modes, they just had way more content. And the game itself was better, so I don't know how they just completely fumbled Dead or Alive 6. All they had to do was just copy Dead or Alive 5 and add more content. And to me, that's the best way to improve on a fighting game. Just copy everything that works from the previous one, and just add more to the game. And with the next Super Smash Bros., they technically could go the easy route and just release a complete version of Smash Ultimate and then just add in all the new characters and content with DLC. But I would rather they make a completely new game to follow the tradition of having a new Smash Bros. Game per new console. And as for the specific characters, I can make a whole video on this, but I'll touch on it briefly. Here's a quick rundown of some of the characters that want to appear in the next Smash Bros. Game. Let's start off with the first party Nintendo characters. And for these 4 characters, I personally feel like they have a high chance of actually making it in. So I'll start with the first one. Bandana Waddle Dee. He's the only major character from the Kirby games that hasn't been in a Smash Bros. Game yet. And the thing about Bandana Waddle Dee, other than him having a bandana, which makes him automatically cooler than most characters in the game, he would be really unique because he's a spear user. There really isn't any other spear users in Smash Bros. Unless you technically count Corrin, but that's just for like 1 or 2 moves that he can use a spear. So excluding Corrin, Bandana Waddle Dee would be the first spear user in the game. Toad's an iconic Mario character that's been in nearly every Mario game, so he should have been put in a long time ago. And the thing is, he's even playable in a lot of Mario games too, especially in a lot of the recent ones. In regard to his moveset, they could essentially give him a Captain Toad inspired moveset. Or to be honest, they could just put Captain Toad in the game, or have Captain Toad be like an alternate costume for Toad. Regardless, he needs to be in the game. With every Smash Bros. Game, there's new Pokemon that correspond to the latest Pokemon game that's out. So most likely it's going to be either a legendary or a starter. To be honest, it doesn't really matter to me as long as they have a cool design. But they might not have a cool design because, let's be honest, the Pokemon designs have been going downhill since, I would say, Gen 3. So I'm probably going to be disappointed with whatever Pokemon they pick, but I just want a new Pokemon to be in the game. Okay, so the last first-party Nintendo character that I want in the game is the main character from Xenoblade 3. And I'm calling him the main character from Xenoblade 3 because I never played a Xenoblade game and I don't know his name. But with how popular Xenoblade has gotten over the years, it makes sense for the latest protagonist to be playable. I know what you're about to say.
We already have too many anime sword fighters.
Bro, let's be real. This is a Japanese fighting game. There's going to be anime characters in the game by default. There's no avoiding it. And if we're gonna be honest, the anime sword fighters in these games have the best movesets. So I welcome all the anime sword fighters. Now, let's talk about the third party characters. This is gonna get really interesting. Okay, let's be real. Shadow should have been playable in Ultimate, but now that he's even more popular than ever because of that Shadow Generations game and Sonic Movie 3, honestly, at this point, it kind of seems like people like Shadow the Hedgehog more than Sonic, which I always like Shadow more than Sonic, but he was already an assist trophy in Smash Bros. Ultimate, so I think the next best step for him is to become a fully fledged playable character, and there's a tons of ways you can do his moveset. You can make him similar to Sonic, or you can take his moveset from Sonic Battle on the GBA. I don't know, there's a lot of things you can do with him. Just put him in the game. Alright, Dante needs to be in the next Smash game because he's literally the face of all character action games. And honestly, they could really do whatever they want with his moveset. Just look at Marvel vs. Capcom 3 if you really want an example of how crazy and unique you can make his moveset. And you can't just have Dante in the game by himself, so you gotta put Virgil in the game too. Honestly, at this point, Virgil's nearly as iconic as Dante. Plus, Smash Bros. Needs more villains, so let's put Virgil in the game. Just like Dante, he's also the face of action games. And he's an iconic fighting game character too, for his appearance in Dead or Alive. And honestly, ever since Ninja Gaiden 2 Black dropped, everybody on social media has been obsessed with Ninja Gaiden. My whole For You page on TikTok and Twitter is just Ninja Gaiden clips. It's almost like Ninja Gaiden reinvigorated public interest in hack and slash games. Part of that increased demand is because so many action games that have come out in the recent years have been Souls-like, and there's nothing wrong with Souls-like games, but it's like, not every action game needs to be a Souls-like game. But that's a whole other topic for another video. Going back to Ryu Hayabusa, he needs to be in the game, and once Ninja Gaiden 4 drops later this year, I predict Ryu's popularity is going to skyrocket even more. Okay, the next third-party character that needs to be in the game is Alucard. Alucard is already an assist trophy in Ultimate, and honestly, he should have been in the game instead of Richter, because Richter could have easily been an alternate costume for Simon. And if we're gonna be honest, Alucard's game, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, is the most popular Castlevania game in the series. When we think of Castlevania, we think of Symphony of the Night, and at this point, Alucard basically represents Castlevania just as much as Simon or Richter. Jin Kazama has been the face of Tekken the last few years, and most of the Tekken games at this point, he's been the main character. He's essentially the face of Tekken at this point, and if he's the face of Tekken, then he's the face of all 3D fighting games. So he should have been in the game from the get-go with Kazuya. Okay, I don't play as Chun-Li in Street Fighter, but I can't deny that she's the most iconic female fighting game character of all time. Alright, my next pick is Doomslayer, and Doom is basically the godfather of all first-person shooters, so he needs to be in the game. There hasn't been any first-person shooter game representatives in Smash Bros. Other than Metroid characters, so Doomslayer needs to be in the game. A lot of rumors have been going around. Well, I guess they're not really rumors anymore because we're kind of seeing everything come to fruition that Microsoft is essentially pulling a Sega and they're going third party. So now it's actually possible for Master Chief to actually be in the game. And the thing is, like, Halo really needs as much promotion as possible because they've been on a downward spiral since Halo 4. But yeah, my reason for including Master Chief is basically the same reason I believe Doomslayer should be in the game. I know this is very unlikely, but let me explain. In Smash Ultimate, we have Joker, who is representing the Persona series. And Persona used to be connected to Shin Megami Tensei. It was considered the spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei series. In recent years, they've kind of split up, and now Persona is its own thing, Shin Megami Tensei is its own thing. So because of this, Shin Megami Tensei needs its own representative. And the Shin Megami Tensei series is also one of the godfathers of JRPGs. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Shin Megami Tensei is pretty much responsible for the monster collector genre of JRPGs. So games like Pokemon and Digimon, Yokai Watch, and all of that sort are based on Shin Megami Tensei. And I chose Demi-Fiend to represent Shin Megami Tensei because he's the most popular character in Shin Megami Tensei. He's the most well-liked character. And if it wasn't him, it would have to be Jack Frost. And I'm pretty sure most people would rather have Demi-Fiend playable than Jack Frost. So we went over all the characters I want in the next Smash, but let's talk about the characters that I absolutely do not want in the next game. Number 1 is Waluigi. I don't know why Waluigi is so popular, but he's never played a significant role in any Mario game. And he doesn't even have his own game. Literally, no one in real life likes Waluigi. He's a literal meme. It is a meme to pretend to like Waluigi. He does not need to be in the game. Honestly, he shouldn't even be an assist trophy. There's just no reason for him to be in the game. I don't want any character from Fortnite in Super Smash Bros. Ever. This dude Gina was a side character in one single game and then never appeared ever again. I understand he has a cool design, He kind of looks like Skull Kid, and he can transform his arm into a gun, but he's irrelevant. He doesn't need to be in the game. And lastly, no more ARMS characters. That franchise is dead. You already got one ARMS character. You don't need any more. Okay, let's talk about the modes. For the next Smash Bros game, I would keep all the modes the same as Smash Bros Ultimate, but add in Coin Battle from Melee. And in regards to bringing back event matches, in my opinion, the event matches are basically the same as the Spirit Battles. So either have the Spirit Battles in or bring back event matches. It doesn't really make a difference to me. Though, there's two specific modes that I really want them to implement. The first one is like a story mode or Avenger mode, which is what everybody wants. But there's multiple ways they can kind of implement this, but I'm going to explain how I think it should be done. It should essentially be similar to Dragon Ball Xenoverse or Street Fighter 6 World Tour mode, where you create an original character, which in this case would be a Mii, and then you go through Nintendo inspired levels and unlock classic items and movesets that your Mii can equip. So for example, if you're in the Street Fighter world and you're fighting with Ryu or training with Ken, you can have your Mii learn Hadouken and other special moves that those characters use, and you essentially would be able to create your own custom moveset for the Miis based on all of the existing characters on the roster. The other mode that I really want in this game is a level creator, and the level creator will be different than a stage creator in the sense that this level creator would be similar to Mario Maker and would allow you to make your own subspace emissary / adventure mode type levels, complete with hazards and NPCs and really anything you want to add. And then once you're done making your levels, you can share them online. And then the other small changes I want are them to bring back custom moves. I want the character creator to be more detailed and in depth. I feel like you should be able to mix and match all specific parts of the outfits, so you can get the shirt from one outfit and mix it with pants of another outfit. And then same thing with the weapons. The weapons shouldn't be tied to outfits either. You should be able to mix and match them with all the other parts too. They should also regularly add in new costumes for the characters, which that should be really easy to do. They kind of already do that in Mario Kart Tour. I also think they should bring back some of the old Final Smashes, and by old Final Smashes I mean the ones where the character changes into a completely different form and has a whole new moveset, like the Brawl Wario Man and Giga Bowser. And I know the argument against that is that those forms were always very imbalanced, but if we're gonna be honest, if you're playing with the Smash Ball on, probably playing with items too, so there's no way to really balance an item battle. So that argument kind of just goes out the window. Bring back Big Boss mode, pretty self-explanatory. One character is a supersized Big Boss, the other characters are normal sized. The normal sized characters have to fight the Big Boss, or you can flip it where you control the Big Boss and you fight the smaller characters. Bring back break the targets for every character, or if they don't want to do it for every character, similar to the level editor I mentioned, they could have a break the targets creator where you make your own break the target stage and you can share it online. And then the last thing, please just fix the online mode. We're in big 2025, and whether this game comes out in 2025, 2026, or 2027, there's absolutely no reason for the online to be as trash as it was in Ultimate. Nintendo, fix the online.